And now for the first session of the day, which is going to be a keynote address from Mr. Chaka Thomas, MD and CEO, Tata Coffee.
I don't know. This is fine, actually. Thank you. I'm not really exactly sure that I'll bring smiles on their faces, but I'll try. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'd like to start by congratulating the AdGully team for the second edition of the CMOs Charcha. Chai pe charcha, coffee pe charcha. Right. While this is a very well thought out, event and more of an ideation platform as I see it, this actually allows us time to sit back, imbibe and maybe learn, which in the present circumstances is quite a luxury. I am extremely honored and a bit embarrassed, I must confess, to be in the midst of such seasoned marketing professionals. But I'll try and make an effort to give you a glimpse of what Tata Coffee is all about and maybe the world of coffee, which is a bit nuanced as I hope to convey to you all. Uh, as I think all of us are aware, I think business, marketing and branding hold a very significant place, and if done sincerely, the persona of the company or its vision actually is transmitted very, very clearly to to the the external world. Now, moving on to coffee. As some of you may know, coffee is the second largest traded commodity in the world. Any guesses on which is the largest traded commodity? Any guesses? Good. Okay, in the interest of time, it's actually oil. So you can imagine the the scope of how big coffee is. Now, it's also one of the most widely consumed beverage in the world, and consumers, their preferences and habits, they constantly evolve. And I think this has been largely driven by the convenience and taste profiles. You want me to get closer? No problems. Sorry, I have a problem. So yeah, so this has been largely driven by very interesting factors like convenience, for example. And when I say convenience, it's about how people look at a faster cup of coffee, for example, or taste profiles. Uh, you know, very very nuanced things like diversity, uh, culture, and conscious choices that people actually make on why they want to drink a particular type of coffee wherever they are. Uh, Tata Coffee is one of the largest integrated, it's not one, it's the largest integrated coffee company anywhere in the world. It straddles uh, the entire gamut, that is from the plantations right up to uh, the extractions business. Uh, it's a it's a very focused B2B kind of a company. So when you look at the plantations, you have coffee plantations, which is your usual roast and ground that you possibly would enjoy here, or the roasting of coffees that you would see in terms of, say, the Starbucks coffee that you consume, or the instant coffee, which again is a value add, which actually comes in. We've been in existence in different shapes and form for 100 years. This actually is our 100th year of existence. And I think we can, I mean, in all humility, I can say that we have been witness to various changes that have actually occurred during the course of these 100 years, which have dictated tastes and consumption of coffee too. Uh, with these 100 years, I think also there is uh, this danger that one can lose the character or the ethos of the company, and it's inevitable. I mean, the fact that change happens, and there are newer trends that come in, and in order to meet these changing landscapes, uh, you can forget what you are all about, or alternatively, you can actually even remain stuck in history and say that this is how coffee was made for 100 years, and this is what consumption is all about, and this is how the consumer sees coffee. There are two different ways of looking at it. However, I think very early in our existence, we actually understood that what connects us to our past is the fact that with this long association of being in coffee, there comes a massive amount of domain knowledge, which along with respecting the founding fathers, so as to speak, of the coffee industry in India, or the luminaries who actually followed, gives us that right blend of being being people who respect the legacy which has been handed over to us, and yet actually look at moving forward. Uh, we also, and I think there was a question which was raised by by Kaiser just a while back when we were sitting here, and he was asking me, uh, how do we really look at the younger consumer, or what is it that an old person like me would really look at when a younger consumer actually looks at coffee. I think we know that from our younger colleagues, there is an inquisitive mind which is at play, and the fact that they constantly try to evolve and look at what could be new, what is a taste that would satisfy them, and this has led us to uh, innovate, and we believe that we have been able to cater to some of our very uh, long-standing consumers in our world. I think captured it beautifully when he said that uh, you know you need to understand that there's a purpose to the brand, and that there needs to be something that a company really exists for, and that's something that we recognized, and we hope that we've been able to work on that. So as Tata Coffee, we've always believed that we need to celebrate goodness. And it's a very large term, but goodness in terms of uh, what happens in the entire business, amongst or for the customer, and we value this very greatly. Uh, some of the very some of the things that we have actually done, and that is largely around sustainability, for example, um, innovation, for example, and the fact that all this has stood us in great stead. It's just a small example of it. There is this very prestigious award, which is called the Ely Cafe Award, which is typically best coffees are judged, and they get awarded at a very glittering function, etc. I mean, I'll spare you those details, but the fact remains that never before has Indian coffee actually won an award there. Never. We're very glad and very surprised that uh, you know coffees from our gardens in Coorg actually won this award. The idea was not to give you that we won the award, but the fact that the biggest contributor to that award was what the consumer actually looked at in terms of how the coffee was produced. Sustainability, the fact that you're good for the planet, the people, and the environment around. It plays such a huge part in the, the way people actually now look at coffees. So there are, in coffee, there have been waves of coffee, first wave, second wave, third wave. At the moment, we are talking about the fourth wave of coffee, which is largely around very specialized types of coffee, where the consumer at the end knows exactly where this coffee has been produced, how responsibly this coffee has been produced, have we harmed the planet in any way, and the choice of the consumer at the end of it is to actually pick up a coffee which satisfies all these things. Now, you'd ask me, how do you do that? There is a blend of technology that you need to actually obviously put across, but most importantly, it is the will and the thought that goes behind the company or any organization that is producing coffee at that point. So in technology, you would see a lot of emphasis that happens on, say, blockchain, for example. You have a very clear understanding of how the coffee has been processed, picked rather, processed, and how it has come down the entire value chain to the end consumer. Have you paid, wages as the law of the land demands, or have you, what are the kind of consumption of water, for example, that you have done? Just for example, in Tata Coffee, we do not draw even a single liter of water from the ground for irrigation. Today, what we do is the entire requirement of our water is actually from water that has been harvested, rainwater harvested. Give you a sense of the quantum of water that we actually hold. We have tanks that we have built which hold water which can sate the consumption of Bangalore city for 4 days. This requires not just a thought, but also requires a lot of belief. So with this, I need to also put into perspective. It's not a very easy path. It's a very difficult path because as marketing professionals, as operational professionals, you would know that there is pressures on delivering numbers every year, and if not every year, every quarter. And the easiest thing is to actually take shortcuts, which could allow you to actually make those numbers. I'm extremely fortunate that I work for a group, an organization, the Tatas, which have always taken the higher ground in terms of how we need to look after the planet, the people, and the environment first before you make profits. It's been much easier for us because of that, or those reasons. I know, having said all this, I believe that all of us gathered here truly understand how important it is to address the issues and opportunities that are above and beyond business as usual. This is extremely important because if you want to stay relevant within our stakeholders, we need to have that USP. Whether it is giving back to the society or communities, commitment towards green initiatives, for example, and investing in the right technology, whether it's digital or stuff that you can actually do to ensure that efficiencies improve and consumptions come down. It needs that and the power of communication, that you should be able to tell that story out to the world where people understand that this particular product that you are actually producing is sustainably produced. As marketing professionals in this room who straddle various industries, and you would understand your product much better than I do, and I'm totally unqualified to make any statements on that. But I think celebrating the goodness of each product that you actually bring out and the impact that particular product has on people and the planet is something I would leave you with a thought to ponder over. So thank you very much for having me here. I hope I've been able to give you a sense of how we have tried to remain relevant in this ever-changing world and answer some of the questions which some of the younger colleagues in this room have asked. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, sir.